Praise the Lord.
Hi, we want to welcome you.
God
guys
bless
back.
the dead.
Yeah, we want to welcome you back to the.
Thank y'all for coming out. God bless you. Good night.
Yeah,
We good? Everything on?
cash.
I think we
cash
rolling.
dot cash
so
dot
we
app
like to-
slash money sign Rickland Young.
Oh, this guy's
You'll
doing
be
for them cash
supporting-
apps.
You'll be supporting.
Yo, Quan, we need to change the graphics on this show.
Yeah, we gotta put the
all our
cash
cash apps under our
joint.
name. No social
No,
media
Marquis
handles.
is Marquis.
Cash app only. Cash apps only.
PayPal,
Cut the
Venmo, Zelle. So yeah,
Venmo.
so we are back with the part 2 of this episode. So we
Hold on,
got.
John, you got to start that again because I was talking over you right when you said we are back. So
Man, we back, man. It's all right. So what I wanted to talk about, right, and we ain't introducing ourselves. Everybody know who we are, right? Who's watching this. So what we want to discuss, what we want to talk about, right, is I'm going to pose a question, right? Because you go around social media and, you know, me and Dwayne were talking about this yesterday in regards to, like, you know, the distractions that we as black people have when it comes to just dealing with our problems. So one of, right, the constant topics or constant, you know, discussions are black men the enemy of black women? Or are we, I've heard the phrase black men, and this is the most, I'm just telling you, this is my opinion. This is my truth and my fact. It's a ridiculous statement to say that black men are the white men of black society. So, you know, like this idea that black men are oppressive, right? That kind of like idea. And you know, I want y'all to give y'all opinion on that and discuss it because I think it's an important topic, you know. And I think all of us here, everybody in this room loves black women unconditionally. So we can most definitely speak to that, right? We ain't speaking for black women, but we most definitely going to be speaking for black men.
Who want to start that off? Everybody sit here thinking like,
Go ahead, man.
So I don't think. So
I don't think-
I don't think we're the enemy of black women, but I feel like we are in a place where we've been challenged so much as to what a black man is. We don't know how to involve them in this emotional and mental transition that we're going through. And what it looks like is while we're trying to figure that out, we're not trying to protect or do anything for them. And this is coming from my own personal journey as I'm maturing. I'm only 33. I'll be 34 in November. So exactly. So you mature at a certain age. But what happens is when you for me as I'm maturing, I'm losing a lot of the people that I were around that I realized really wasn't shit, and they were making me not shit. So now that I've gotten them out the way, I'm realigning my values to now even treat my own relationship better. So it was never that I was her enemy since we've been together. It's just that I didn't know how to make that align with where I was, right? Yeah.
So I'll say it, and what I'm getting ready to say is very similar to what you said. I think I don't think we're enemies. I think we have to be better allies,
Partners,
and
better partners.
Yeah, allies, partners. Because I get what you mean by partners in the sense of, you know, everyday life, but also allies, right? We have to be able to champion black women even from a distance, women that we don't know or women that we just see walking down the street, right? Whether I can leave here right now where we're sitting, and there could be a sister walking her dog down the street. I can speak to her. I don't have to say nothing crazy, but I can speak to her and let her know, hey, you know, I see you. How you doing? You're in the same neighborhood I'm in, and we both trying to live our lives peacefully.
Do
right?
You feel that's welcome though by the majority of black women?
It's the delivery, like he said. It's the delivery.
Do you think that you as a black, like if you were like in that situation, do you feel like the average black woman is welcoming to that?
I think it depends on what you do, right? In that situation, if you speak, hey, how you doing? Or hey, have a good day or something simple, yes, it's received. Now, if you say something a little more slick or say something that feels like maybe you're getting ready to approach them with more than just, uplifting their day, that depends on the woman.
Now, I'll say this, keeping it even that simple. Remember, it's about the delivery. Delivery isn't just about what you say, it's how you say it.
Correct.
So you can say, hey, how you doing? But if you keep staring, then that's where it's like,
correct. What is he up to?
What is he up to? But if you, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. And you move on, like instantly move on, then that's where it's cool.
Correct.
people have to understand that line. Even when you out and about, you got to understand that line. I'm a firm believer if a woman walk up to the bar and I got a seat, I'm going to get up and let her sit down.
I agree with that.
Hey, how you doing? Here's a seat. Enjoy yourself. And then I move on.
Absolutely.
It's me seeing you. For me, that's acknowledge you as a woman. Acknowledge you as your presence, that you deserve to sit down. You deserve to take a load off. That's how I process it. You deserve to not be standing up, getting bombarded and brushed on. Here, have a seat. Enjoy yourself. I can go over here.
I can go over here. I can stand up, whatever the case is.
Dwayne, go ahead, bro.
Well, I definitely don't believe we are enemies of the women. For one, they always say one bad apple spoils the bunch. A lot of times you have one bad apple that makes all of us look bad, so it always causes a problem. But at the same time, we don't have a lot of men being gentlemen because a lot of them don't have the father figures in their lives, so they don't know how to be a gentleman to a woman.
Well, let me ask you a question. How do you feel would be the need to? Because at some point, ego plays a part in that, right? Because
I was going to get to that too.
That's a whole different conversation.
You may not have had a father figure in your life, but how do you position yourself or get someone to see a fact of like, hey, I ain't trying to be your dad, but you can always look up to me, or you can come to me with stuff. Not even looking come to me with stuff. Like, how do you? Because I think that's a change that needs to happen.
Well,
too.
that's the same thing. Like I coach, I mentor, and I just train young men. At the same time, I'm like, hey, you can talk to me about anything. You know what I'm saying? You can come to me. I'm not trying to be your father, but if I'm one of the ones you could talk to about something, reach out. You know what I'm saying? Just ask a question. Like, it don't have to be about sports. It could be about anything in life or school, or it could be about anything. So if you reach out and say, hey, coach, I got a question. You know what I'm saying? About a job situation. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, I give you my opinion, but you still got to make that decision. So it's kind of like, we need more men to be mentors or be good examples.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It don't have to be, everybody lead by example differently.
Let me say something real quick. But go ahead, Reggie.
Well, no, because he said lead by example, and I think part of my frustration societally, not just as black men, but societally, the examples that we are shown, they are not enough.
Few and far between.
Correct. And what I mean by that is oftentimes the examples, particularly in our community, either dribble a basketball or run a football. And and I respect those guys for everything that they've done, and black women to that extent. But on the flip side, there are people who are in banking, who are in telecommunications, who are in education, who are in media that look like us. And those are not often used as examples to these young men. And so to me, that's part of the problem as well.
Because they're not listed as successful as an athlete.
It's not even
you know what I'm saying? That's my thing.
Well, I'll put it, what I wanted to say in regards to that, which is a good point, is that like most of the men that, and I know y'all, and most of the black men that I know how to treat black women, know how to articulate and talk to black women. I'm not around black men who
24/7.
I'm not around in the proximity of black men who mistreat black women.
I don't want to be in their proximity.
But at some point, don't you think we ought to be? Even if it's just to be like, hey,
you know what?
Actually,
That's fair.
I actually disagree with that.
You need to kind of. I see. I don't know you, but here's what I do know. What you're doing is a slippery path, and if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. If not, just know I'm coming to you.
I get what you're saying. You're saying we don't have to be around them, but if you see it, we need to be that man to say something,
right?
And address it.
I disagree with that.
Why?
Black men get killed over that. First of all, let's say, all right, let's bring an extreme example up, right? Let's say you're walking down a block, and
that's the New York in them down the block. That's the New York
and you see a black man getting into an altercation with his black woman. They start arguing and everything. And you see him throw a punch her, she falls to the ground. What is your initial thought process? What do you think?
So my initial thought process is like, yo, I'm gonna go. And again, it's about delivery. You know how you see people get into an argument in a public place, you just kind of step in, not you being aggressive to him, but you just like, hey, yo, my man's chill, relax, but still not being aggressive. That's how you handle it, right? Because I know what you're saying, because there's a guy that just got killed at the gas station a couple weeks ago.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. When you go back and you really look at that story, he tried to be a defender.
Let me play devil's advocate on that. So say he goes and tries to help her out, and the woman says like, "Nah, get out of here!" Like, yo, no,
And this is a point. This is a point we have to.
Sometimes you have to step away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have to make that call in that moment.
Yeah.
But my key, until you get to that point, you have to be able to say, you have to check your
De-escalate.
emotions,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you
your
can't come
emotional
there.
reaction is, oh, I want to go jump this dude. I'm gonna beat him up.
But
well, it should be, hey, separate the situation, calm it down, and then be like, look. Same thing. Look, I don't know what happened, but this ain't the way you want to go. Now, if she say something and he get a little aggressive with me, you got it, my man.
Hey,
I
tried.
And,
But see,
but you gotta do that line. Though.
To answer to Quan's question, I have been in that situation before, and I stepped in, but I went to him. I'm like, bro, don't do this. Cameras around. I just kind of like just try to stop the situation, but I wasn't like trying to cover for him. But I kind of want to like, bro, cameras around. You don't want to do this like this, man. I like, bro, this ain't what you know what I'm saying right now. This ain't the place.
You're gonna end up in jail.
And that's the delivery that you need.
So what happened is, with that situation, he like, but man, I like, bro, I understand whatever, but it was kind of making me seem like I was on his side. But the point is, I was just trying to get the situation calmed down. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that saying I was justifying him hitting her. I definitely didn't justify that. It was just, he was the aggressor, so I had to go to him and try to, because if I went to her, now I'm fighting him. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? So it was one of those situations, you just got to, sometimes you got to pick and choose the battle. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you don't, I'm not going to recommend run and jump into every situation like that. Yeah. Definitely, because you never know.
Dudes
like
toting pistols nowadays.
You don't know what mindset.
In the South,
we don't know what mindset he is.
The North
it don't
too.
matter. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter where you from. It don't matter what. You don't know what kind of mindset he's in at the time. So you kind of gotta trying to pick and choose. I'm not gonna tell every time like, hey man, you see it,
but
automatic jump in.
I want to go back to what Rickland said, that we need to be in proximity of those men. I actually disagree. The reason why is because, and something I said yesterday, is that the change within black society is not going to come from the majority of black society. It's going to come from an actual small, strong minority. Intelligent black society, or intelligent or excellent black society, needs to get together and set the example and lead by example. And because most people are sheep. Mm-hmm. Most people follow, right? So the idea that we're gonna, because the truth is like, there's 40 million black people in this country. You think we're gonna get 40 million black people to automatically just come together and go and no?
Man, you can't get 4 people to do anything the same.
So go ahead, bro.
But at the same time, proximity, right? When you're at work or in outside of this congregation, hallelujah.
Well,
Wow. When you're around those people, I guarantee you there's one person that does that you hint of. Not, we kind of went the whole domestic route, but anything, if anything wrong, we're around them. Whether it be a little fraud, a little this and this. So instead of it being, why not? Like I said, not being around like hanging with them every day, but just be that person, because you know that they're there to say something to the side, like, yo, like, look, I ain't all your business, but listen, the way you going, if you go that route, just know, and if it's really you trying to figure out a way out, figure something out, just come out at me and just leave it at that. Yeah. And then again, you leave them the choice. But I think because what'll happen is, if we get a collective of the same people around and don't involve people that are different, then all we're gonna do is elevate those same people, because the people that are sheep aren't gonna want to follow anything different from them, because that's all they know. Where they look at, they're two separate people. There's us. I'm gonna say that there's the ratchets and there's the non-ratchets. If all the non-ratchets get together, that's gonna just feed in, or it's gonna become a thing where they start feeding off of over here and nobody's really elevating from the other side. If you take one or two and influence them in,
I'm one of the people who believe that actually needs to happen, though. I believe there needs to be like a civil war amongst black people, like not physically but intellectually. Okay. Facts. I believe that there needs to be a separation from folks who are serious and folks who are not serious. Because, right, and the truth is, especially when you're talking about people 30, 40, 50 years old, stuck. These folk are stuck in their ways, right? Mm-hmm. We ain't gonna change the dynamic of these old folk. It's just the truth of the matter. My thing is like like when I say like, and also when I say separate, I don't actually mean literally physically separate, because we're gonna come across those people all the time. But what I mean is just the collection of ideas and who's leading the conversation. Everybody should not be allowed to talk and have a chance to talk in this discussion, because the truth is, fucking, you get around them, they start talking, they start babbling. And then we ain't getting nowhere. And we gave everybody a microphone. When you give testimony service at church, and you let everybody go up there and start testifying, and you have some folk up there just talking silly, right? So everybody don't get to talk. Everybody doesn't get to have a voice, right? Because that's what leadership is. That's what leadership does. So we as black men, first of all, those of us who are serious need to lead by example first. Lead by example first. That's more so. That's where I agree with you on. We need to lead by example first, but it doesn't mean that if this individual is not getting with the program, that we got to continue to get him on our side. No,
I agree with a lot of that. I think the issue is the lead by example piece.
What's the example?
That's my point, right? Because whatever the cause may be, let's use this as an example. There was a whole lot of people leading as it related to George Floyd.
Yes, a lot of folk was out
there. But
there.
there's only two people that have been really portrayed as the leaders: Steven Jackson and Jaylen Brown. Yeah. Because they're athletes.
And Steven Jackson actually knew him.
And because they knew him, right. Yeah. Whereas there were some attorneys that were part of this. There were some doctors that may have been out there. There were some teachers that may have been out there. But those people are not getting the credit. They're not being shown as the leaders to be examples. And I think that's part of my point in saying that is we often, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Don't worry about it. We often forget about the ordinary average person,
blue collar,
and don't allow them to be leaders. We chase a celebrity as a leader, and the reality of the situation is a principal or a superintendent of a school district oftentimes is more of a leader than some of these people that are pushed forward via social media or whatever the case may be, because they're famous.
But we know that that's the.
But that's the difference between serious that you were talking about.
Yeah, but we know that really we're never going to see. That's not the image that's not the kind of folk that they're going to put in front of a camera. Right. In front of a microphone. That's just the truth. So
wait a minute, who is they?
The media or the mainstream
media. The only reason I asked that
because LeBron is popular. Steven Jackson are popular people. Okay, These are popular folk, right? So they know that these folk are popular, so they're gonna bring ratings, right? By putting them on camera, right? Or or when LeBron comments on certain issues, or when Jaylen Brown or Steven Jackson or Oprah Winfrey comment on these issues, for example, because they know they have a major platform of people that listen to them. So they're gonna obviously. I mean, if you're trying to get viewers, that's what you're gonna do. But everything really starts, right? And even with the George Floyd protest, it didn't start with Steven Jackson.
No,
it started with the people, the grassroots people in the community, and that's where it gets back to like black people are addicted to entertainers and entertainment and sports, escapism, right? Because they love that stuff because it takes them away from what's exactly happening at this point in time. So my thing is that when I say intelligent black society, right, and the people that you're talking about, the people that are on the ground, the boots on the ground, right? I'm not even looking for them to get major platforms, but we live in the Charlotte area, for example, right? Any change, real significant change that's going to happen in Charlotte can happen amongst us and people like us. Maybe not LaMelo Ball or whoever, right? I don't know who plays for I don't keep track of football that, right? But like those folk really aren't going to really be the ones that really create change within our community. It's really going to be people that you see on a day-to-day, like the people you're mentioning, Reggie.
So then how do we get them in front of things? Because if that's the key to the fix, right? How do we change this idea, this
stigma? Yeah,
the stigma that not saying they aren't important, but they don't get the same limelight as everybody else.
They get looked past.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what we're measuring limelight. Like, because if they're gonna be on, if we get them, if Fox or Fox News or whatever the local news channel puts them on display, well, great. Well, that's a good thing, I guess. But it doesn't necessarily mean that has to be the measure of visibility or success in that manner. It could be a thing to where, we're just out in the community. And I think, and a part of the reason why we started this podcast initially is to get around a lot of like-minded individuals like yourself and Ryan. Yeah, everybody, if you've watched the episodes, you know who Ryan is, and other different folk within the community. And we're going to continue to do that because the discussions, one, is the start, right? These discussions that we're having, but, like me, Dwayne, and Reggie talked about is, this is not necessarily like a podcast. The podcast is just a sounding board where us as black men can kind of exchange ideas and talk about solutions and then take it from here, this room, or, this setup to outside, right? To where we can have bigger and greater discussions.
You just gave me an idea.
Go ahead, bro. What's the idea?
You just gave me an idea.
No, don't say it here. You save that. Get that copywritten and trademarked and all that.
No,
first.
it's something.
Nah, it's all business. I'm just playing.
You gave me an idea. Let's do this. Between each of our platforms, I'll make the flyer. I'll get a day together. Let's say sometime. Let's say 1st September. That we give enough time to get it in, and let's collectively come together, do some type of giveaway for a teacher. Or it's just or do a profession. Profession.
No,
we'll do a shoot. I'll pay for the makeup. We'll find outfits within a range, and let's do a shoot for them. Give it away for them, and then highlight them in some type of way with the shoot.
Man, you actually may have somebody, because Quan is good. Quan, when you gonna be back here?
Whenever, just let me know.
All right, we'll get it organized. We'll
That's how you know. That's how you know Quan got them long pockets. He said whenever.
We're gonna get some organized because I mean, and a lot of people have said to Dwayne and me before, like, when y'all gonna get some black women on the show? We are. We are.
Now that you're saying that, that's a good idea because I know a couple of females. Yeah. One I know, two of them I know is head of nonprofit organizations. Yeah. That will definitely be a big thing.
And I have a nonprofit too as well now. I forgot to tell y'all. It's called Dream to Be Great. So we gonna work.
Oh, we out here making announcements?
Yeah. So now
I don't have one yet.
Now that you say that, that's a good idea. It don't even have to be the photo shoot.
No, I'm not talking about a nonprofit. I'm talking about announcements.
Giving a contribution. That's what I.
Yeah, or it could be something. But we buy a case of hot dogs.
We gonna get because we gonna go into all types of ideas.
We talk more about it,
but I like that, right? This is dope because this is what the intent of the podcast really is to get outside of the four walls and deal with folk within the community and really create a community, right? To where we're having these discussions and building.
Because you're right. Like that should have been something. I should have been doing. As many of them I interact with to get information about them out there and allow them. Because if not, I think about it, like I know a few people myself. They don't have anything out there for things they do for their nonprofits, so their businesses and things they do. And it's like, yo, all right, now you got me thinking like, yo, it's. I can't contribute like a big grand gesture, but for what I do have,
everything. I always say everything doesn't have to start off big. It can start off small, and if you continue, we continue to do something. As years go along, it gets bigger and bigger. So I would never expect it to be so large at the beginning. Yeah. It could be something small, but get it once. Like I say, we talk about it more. Talk about more. Talk about more of it. But
so I got a question, right? In regards to like y'all relationships in the past, right? Have you had a difficult time?
Yep.
Expressing yourself.
Yep. Everything you say. Yep.
Have you had a difficult time? Like I know in the past for me. I could talk about myself, right? In relationships that I've been in the past, I have had a difficult time kind of expressing myself. I believe maybe you could confirm or not confirm, like in your 20s, as a man and as a black man, specifically in this country, right? That's really when you're trying to figure it out, man. Like, I think that, this idea that, when you turn 18, you're an adult.
It's trash.
Is like, it don't even make, like, I'm thinking about myself at 18, and I'm like.
By law, you're an adult.
Yeah, by law, you're an adult.
By
But
law,
by,
but
but
you're
by
not-
experience,
Everybody's not an adult at 18.
Exactly.
I think it's
Everybody's not an adult at 30, so-
adults at 18. I think very few people actually really become an adult.
I didn't become an adult until I was 27. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yo, that's about the same for me, my man. Like, 28, 20, yeah.
But at,
30.
but at 17, 18, when it was time for me to
I came
when
adult
Do
in
adult
high school.
things. Yeah, to do adult things. Yes, yes.
It's and I think, and I'm gonna say this is the realest thing I've never said out loud to anybody. And I had to have this conversation with my mother about that. I resented her for that. I resented her for the fact that when I graduated high school, it was go to school, get a job, and help pay bills in this house. It wasn't enjoy your youth, figure it out, go
You
to
know
college.
how many kids?
Well, everybody
You know what I'm saying?
had different situations.
Yeah, I was saying
Yeah, so-
mine in particular.
okay, with my situation, yes, I was an adult at 18.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest son, was born at 18. So guess what? Even though I did go to college, but I had a good background, I had a good support system.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, some free times I had,
Yeah.
where I had to go home.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? You got to go. You got a son here, so it wasn't one of the things. So everybody's situation is different. I can't say everybody could be adult. Even though I still did some things, I still had to learn some things. But at the same time, everybody learning process is different, because you got some guys that's 30 years old that's still not adults.
Yeah.
That's
You know what I'm saying? They don't really do things.
Yeah.
Because,
I just
But
feel like I was
we
rushed.
know some of them.
yeah,
I just feel like I was rushed. Like, you at 17, 18, I don't know the world was going on. I don't know anything about taxes or jobs, but I'm expected to start contributing to a household
But-
versus living and then or move out
but
and then just start your life and then figure it out.
And the
along
thing
the way.
is, with men, we are late bloomers when it comes to being an adult most of the time, because you got women that mature a lot sooner than we do.
Yeah.
But not all. I'm not gonna say all, but a lot of guys as men, we are late bloomers, and that's another thing about being a mentor, preparing guys. Some guys don't have that figure, so a lot of us don't mature till they 30-some years old.
Go ahead.
No, I said it. I figured out I was an adult about 30 years old. But getting back to the original question of that communication piece, I know I've struggled with it in the past, because for me in past relationships, I've been concerned that something I may want to say or a way I may feel about something is going to create the end of the relationship.
Yeah.
Or is going to hurt the other person in the relationship, which is it can be very difficult, but I've learned over time, I'd rather it sting a little bit and we get past it and can grow through it, as opposed to waiting down the line and it all boils up these 15 different things, and then you do and or say something irrational and it really blows the whole thing up. So I'd rather have that conversation and know, you know what? Somebody gonna be a little upset with somebody. Somebody gonna be like, nope, I ain't cooking you dinner for 2 days, or I don't want to look at you for the rest of today, or don't call my phone for a couple hours. Whatever the case may be, I've learned that to me as an adult, it is more valuable to deal with maybe a couple of hours or so, a short term of maybe disappointment or frustration from the other person, than to let things collect and create a bigger issue later.
Or you got to be willing to be like, all right, this is the case. You really don't agree. You could go.
We can agree to disagree, and that's there too, right?
I have a friend, right, who was talking to me about his relationship with his wife, right, and that one, she makes a lot more money than him, a lot, right, a lot. Okay, and then the other thing too is that, like, I guess she's not what he would call submissive. And then I asked the question. I said, "Bro," I said, "How are you leading?" I said, "She's not. Men cannot expect a woman to submit to them, and you do have some women who are very combative, like they just are combative, like they just gonna challenge your authority on everything, and you don't need to deal with those kind of women. But as a man, you need part of it, especially how we lead as men, is our level of productivity. That's a big part of it. Doesn't mean you have to make more than her, right? But you should be able to support her. I don't care how much money my wife makes. I could care less, right? Because her job is not to provide and protect me. My job is to protect and provide for her. So when I hear men complain about, and I hear certain, and I coached college for 5 years, so I'd hear some of my players like, black girls are or they hard to deal with, or they be there. I'm like, you have a problem that I never had. Because they don't respect you. I ain't ever had no issues with black women respecting me.
But the biggest part about getting a submissive woman that we don't talk about as black men is that to the original question, we usually don't figure out how to express ourselves effectively.
Right.
2, we don't set our own necessary boundaries and restrictions to ourselves and for other people. So then when it's time for us to get involved with a woman, we don't know. We just think it's supposed to be solid and good because we look good together. Or we can go out to eat. We like the same thing to eat. We like the same movies. Right. Stuff like that, right? So we think that by her doing things that we like, that's her submitting when it's not. So then when she gets combative because that ridge is there and we don't have any boundaries around like what it's supposed to be and what it's not supposed to be and communicate about what's supposed to be and not supposed to be, how can she be submissive? Because even then, it could be just a compatibility thing. She may not just be submissive for you. She might be submissive to somebody else.
Correct. Well, which goes to the leading part, right? Yeah. That's all of that is encompassed. But I just think it comes back to like you have to be able to have those kinds of conversations, whether you're comfortable or not. You got to do it. And that's everything from the conversation of, she's doing certain things that you think are great. Give her them flowers on that. But if there's something you expected, whatever it might be, you got to be able to have those conversations too. Even when you feel like there's maybe a shortcoming or whatever the case may be. But you also got to be, as a black man, you got to be able to take that shit coming back.
I believe,
and that's where a lot of it comes from. Is when it comes back, when she checks you on something you're not doing properly. You got to be able to take that back and not get so defensive, because a lot of times what happens is people, whether it's the man or the woman, in either case, right? One person kind of, for lack of a better term, checks the other one, and instead of you processing the information and understanding where the shortcoming might be, there's a lash back. And now the communication is clouded. Yeah. And now it becomes this, and then what do people say? Oh, she got combative, and all I said was, why you come home so late? Well,
you come home at 3 o'clock.
You come home at 3 o'clock in the morning. Right.
So now, but we also have to understand the hierarchy within the household. There are certain decisions that a woman may not understand. Your woman may not understand the complexities that go into that. So I might make a decision that she doesn't agree with, but this is the best decision for.
Well,
correct.
Hold on. Can I address that?
I think what's selfish is.
Can I address that?
As a man, you got to have the foresight. A man without a vision cannot lead a household.
Does that mean you
hold on. Let me address that.
Yes, hold on. Yes. Go ahead. Let him go.
Go ahead.
That's not to say that whatever you say, the woman should just bow down.
No. That's not what we're saying.
You should be able to listen and take into account. But at the end of the day, you are the decision maker. Period of the household.
It depends. Can I address that?
There's certain things your woman understand more than you do. But in the overall sense, because this is the problem with our community. Our family structure is screwed the hell up. That's part of the problem. You want to know why?
With that.
Yes, it is. It's crap. What are you talking about?
I disagree with that.
Our family structure in the black community presently is garbage.
I can only speak for my family. I disagree with that. That's why.
But that's the thing, right?
I can't speak for everybody else.
No, because your family is different than what's out here. How many weddings, bro? Let me ask you a question. How many weddings have you been to?
I've been to a lot of weddings.
No, in the last decade, in the last 5 years, how many weddings you been to?
A lot of them. That's what I'm saying. I've been to a lot of weddings.
I ain't been to a lot of weddings. Y'all been to a lot of weddings in the last 5 years? With black people. No, with black people. Well, you
Yes.
obviously, yes.
I have.
Listen.
How many of your
let me-
friends is married that you grew up with?
6.
How many what?
But I don't have a big circle either. So I'm literally
See,
probably the last
that's what I'm
three.
saying.
Bro.
That's what I said. With me,
I'm the
I
last
can
three
speak
they made.
differently.
I see a lot of baby showers.
I've been to a
but not
lot of weddings in family, and I've been to a lot of married baby showers and everything. So I could say in a decade, I've been to a lot of weddings. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, that's why I say I disagree, because my experience is different than yours. You know what I'm saying?
I'm talking about the numbers.
But are you looking at it from saying that? Are you looking at it from a timeline of when things should happen?
Is the marriage rate higher now, or is the marriage rate lower? Is the black family in a better position now?
We can fuck since day one, so that's
yeah, but
you know, that's a
no,
no-brainer.
we had issues. Yes.
But I'm asking, are you, because what you just said, are you looking at it from a you should be here to date, you should get married, then have the kids?
No.
Because a lot of times, and I'm speaking for myself too, the babies coming before the wedding.
Yeah.
And that's a decision that I chose and a decision I made.
Was it a conscious decision you made?
Okay, not the first time. Not the first time. But that's because in the line of things, she was in the military, time gaps, children, career changes. Whenever you go into a marriage, and we just said this, you can't take marriage, you can't take it lightly. So you shouldn't go into it lightly. You shouldn't go into it have stepped in.
I agree with that. I most definitely agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? So when I think about going to a marriage, and think about if I'd have gotten married at the time when I was getting ready to leave a solid job, got kids now with this woman, and now want to do something full time that's might fluctuate the income of a household. Oh, we would have been one of the people that got married and got divorced at 2 years.
No, I agree.
You know
I'm not. I think it's just more so the way things are. No, bro. The black family is not in a better place now. As a collective, that's just a fact.
I'm still.
That's not an opinion.
Judge, I'm still gonna disagree.
No, that's your family, bro. This is not an opinion. This is a fact.
I can't speak for Reggie family. I can't speak for nobody's family. But I can speak.
We're not talking about individual folk family. I'm talking about across the board, bro.
But that's the thing. We cannot speak for everybody across the board.
We can.
Because
we out here and we see it.
Yes. One thing I'm gonna explain to this. I do see. Like I say, I do go to a lot of weddings. I've been to a lot of weddings. I'm not speaking just for my family as general. I'm just speaking for other families too. The weddings I've been to in the last decade. Now the thing is, we keep saying, because you hear about a lot of people having babies before they get married, or they single mothers, things like that. Because it's out there, it's always going to be that's going to be always put out there. But we're not talking about the couples that are getting married. People are doing the right thing, because we don't want to. That's not good entertainment. That's not going to be something that people want to hear. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm just speaking in general. That's not something that people want to hear. They want to hear about the bad side. They want to hear about the negative. And that's the thing. It's out here, but we always putting out there the negativity part of the black family that we're not addressing, that you do have.
Listen to what I'm saying. Black wealth, net worth is lower now than it was ever before.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna slightly disagree to this point. Wealth has nothing to do with whether or not the family is broken or fixed.
No, but it has a.
I agree with that. That does not directly correlate. No, because and the reason why I say that is this: you have some very solid nuclear families that don't have nothing, and you have some that got a lot, and vice versa. You got some broken ones that got money, and you got some solid ones that got money. So all I'm saying is, I'm not saying the construct of the family is perfect as a whole. What I'm saying is, it doesn't necessarily correlate to being rich or not rich.
I'm not. It's not even just being rich, bro. And if you're
you use the term wealth.
No, yeah, so wealth. Net.
I'm sorry, wealth.
Yeah, net wealth. Yeah, like rich.
No. Are you talking about money?
I'm not talking about millionaires. I'm talking about I'm talking about net worth. I'm talking about like people with positive net worths. Families with positive networks, right? Families that make
Do cocaine.
Say that again.
Do cocaine. They all snort powder together and have pool parties out on the south side of Charlotte.
No. But all I'm saying is there's some wealthy deadbeat dads too. Yeah. There's some wealthy, whatever the case may be.
Yes,
my point is the structure of family is not always tied to financial and wealth.
No, but it's a part of it, though.
You can't say it's not a factor. It's not. Of course, it's not.
It all depends on the family.
It's not one and the same. What I'm saying is,
it always
just because you're broke doesn't mean you're going to be a broken family.
Yes,
and just because you're wealthy doesn't mean you're going to be a good family. That's all I'm saying.
So let me be clear, right? The reason why I'm saying that is because, right, and there are obviously certain people you could point to that say, oh, well, they're doing well, right? And like, I had somebody say this to me, it's like, well, my family's doing good, so, and that goes back to what we said yesterday. Well, Jay-Z's a billionaire. Well, my family's good. Well, Oprah's a billionaire. Well, this person's a millionaire. Well, this person's on TV. So black people are doing fine. When the reality is, if you go through all the major cities in this country and you see a majority of the homeless population now is what? Black single mothers. And that is not an opinion. That is a statistical fact, and you can't argue with data. That is real, right? And you can't say it's my opinion.
Like I said, I have to see the data, but I get what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
Well, we can look it up, but that's the statistical fact, right? So what I'm saying is that, like, and people talk about building wealth, especially in today's economy, in today's society, right? The idea that people think that they're going to do it on their own, that you don't need family, that your children don't need the family structure. And I'm saying there's things that happen, and things happen, relationships don't work out, people have kids before they get married. And it's not going anywhere. But the consciousness of our community to say, hey, our dynamic between black women and black men is not in a good space. Our family dynamics, and I know people who have family members. My family's not like that, but I know plenty of folk, black folk, who have family members they don't speak to because of the rotten family dynamic, because of trauma throughout the years, through where they grew up, conditioning in different neighborhoods, all these type of different factors. The incarceration rate for black men, taking them away from black women, taking away from black homes. We all know women don't get welfare and they don't get government assistance. If there's a man living in a home, all these type of different things. And this is not an opinion. This is fact that I'm presenting.
I never questioned that.
Yeah.
All
I'm
I
not saying
said
your
was,
question. I'm just trying to make sure I'm clear in regards to what I'm saying.
And the only point I'm making is they're not mutually exclusive. That's all I'm saying. Just because your family is bad, my point is, even in those situations you just mentioned, the whether it's there are deadbeats or there are families that don't talk to each other.
Yeah, of course.
That got money.
That got plenty of money.
That got wealth.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure we understand.
Yeah. So I know, and I get that. Yeah. I'm just talking about when you look at the entire landscape, because we're not speaking for other people, but we're just speaking on the current condition outside of what is in this room.
Now, here's what I'll say, and I'm gonna tie it back to your friend. Your friend sounds like to me he has an ego problem. Because why does it matter if his wife makes more than him?
But the issue is not his wife making more than him. The issue is
so I heard it wrong. I apologize.
The issue, that's not the issue. But she's not what he would call submissive. But I'm saying,
but is he showing weakness because is that the issue?
I will say that he's showing yes. But the thing is,
trying to clear it up for us.
Women feed off of
that. But you know how it is as a man, and I told him, I said, you got to get your weight up, fam. That's what I told him. I said, I told him,
make sure you get.
He married into that.
Wait a minute.
He married into something that
That's
You
what we
can't
talking about
handle
earlier.
what you was getting into.
Get his
women-
weight up how? Get his
Like
weight up
he
how?
got to increase his production level, man.
Because
you know what he did? You know what he did?
Because in his house, money matters.
Instead of getting a job.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Every household's different.
But you know how, bro, man.
Apparently to him.
To him, money matters.
His friend.
But you know, but let me tell you something, right?
because if that's what's gonna make
Instead
it better.
of getting more money, what he went and got himself a game.
I'm
literally.
to distract him from what's happening.
I'm gonna address something before you say something.
I'm
if I'm
through.
college,
I'm
I had
right
a
here in
class.
my phone.
No.
Because see, the thing is, I had a classmate, like you saying, his wife was making more money than him. You know what I'm saying? But it's how you present yourself in your household.
And that was
She
my point.
respected him, but you know what I'm saying? It wasn't about the dollar sign. It was about how you represent yourself in the household. If you taking charge of something in the household, it's how you present yourself in your household.
You can't be weak. Rickland, let me tell you this though.
You can't be weak in your house. You can't so weak. If you know that you can't handle that, what you marry her for?
Thank you. Thank you.
We got to get back. No. Let me finish.
Reggie,
I'm not trying to accuse nobody of nothing.
Let him go.
But don't get caught in the lust of everything else. Forgetting what is a major factor to you. And this is, I said this 1,000 times. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm getting loud, but this pisses me off. But I done said this 1,000 times on this couch. If your ass can't look in the mirror and talk to yourself in truth, don't go outside.
That's what I said.
Trying to talk to
You gotta
everybody
get
else.
your weight up.
He didn't look himself in the mirror before he walked his happy ass down or waited for her to walk her happy self down that aisle.
He got to get his weight up.
You can't. Well, guess what?
To me, it's how you present yourself in your household.
That is a factor to him.
But that's what I'm get her respect. And somebody said
He can still get his respect. He can still get her respect. Yes.
But she's trying to figure out
she don't. No, she don't respect
That's
him.
what she said. That's why I said. That's why I want to get clarity of the situation.
Because she make more money than him, she don't respect him.
Wait a minute.
No.
It ain't just money.
No.
From her end, it ain't just money.
But let me finish.
How you present yourself in the household. She can make millions of dollars more than you, but you present yourself in the household as the head of the household. It's how you present yourself. She will respect him. You know what I'm saying?
Dwayne,
confidence.
You know why I don't believe you? Because you sat on this couch and told us about men that don't work, men that don't produce. You was going in.
No, I don't like men sitting in a household that don't work and don't produce anything. Because I feel like you need to get your off the couch and go work.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling him.
But the difference is he's working and she's making more money than him. You still got to present yourself in a certain way in your household.
You know how it is, man. Yo, how much sleep you get, bro?
Oh, we get lots of miles.
How much sleep? But you work. Yeah. And you productive, right? Yeah. Right, Reggie, you on the road.
Here's the thing.
Okay, man.
I walk in confidence. There's never gonna be a person that walks in the room and is ever gonna out confidence.
But you getting it. But you getting after it though. When you awake, you getting after it.
We two the same here. Cause ain't nobody walking in no room stronger than me.
And you gotta walk in your house that way.
But you get after it. That's the thing. It's not that she's just making more money. It's that so
he lacks ambition.
No, but
bam, there you go.
That's a different conversation.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I say you got to get your weight up because, like, if you got to come in there,
that's a different conversation.
Certain type of energy, and if you not, energy that you have in the real world, if it's not in the house, if your wife and your woman is not seeing it in the house, and she not seeing it when you go outside,
she gonna end up in
recess. Y'all about to make me go in the bathroom and take the mirror off the wall because the boy need a mirror. He needs to look inside himself and understand what is important to him and what is not.
If you a man, go.
Am I wrong? So guess what? He now has to get with somebody that's not in the intelligence circle and tell them to invite them in to be more ambitious. And then if they don't,
his situation.
Remember,
to me, his situation, everybody
don't need to be. So this your partner,
but this is what I'm. But this is why the proximity, right? Because we all have
his situation is a little different.
But what I'm saying, we all have friends. We all have friends, and he's a good brother, right? He not cheating on his wife. He ain't doing stuff. But I told him, I said, bro, you gotta get out here and just get after it. And if she sees that energy, she's gonna respect you, bro.
So
if she don't respect you because she don't see that drive, she don't see that.
So
fire,
at what point do you stop telling him to stop being lazy?
No, you tell him one time.
Because it sounds like you done had this conversation a couple of times.
Because my thing is, as a man,
and then
you can tell a man one time. If he does it, then you like he got it. But if he doesn't do it, because I know, we know a person.
And listen,
I'm not going to even go there.
I got a 3-10 rule. The first time, come vent to me, get it off of your chest, and come up with a solution. The second time, it's okay, you working through, so you still a little bit of help. The third time is literally, hey, we don't talk about this 2 times already. I want to hear about it.
So I'm not just telling him. I ain't just telling him what to do. I'm showing him how to do it. So if he stick close to me, he'll be all right.
Because if what you told him, man, they go get a Nintendo Switch. I want to know what you told him.
Yeah. Well, that was. He got the Switch. He told me he got the Switch.
Man, and here's what I'm really hearing.
He lazy.
Is that, and he can't communicate to her. Because at some point, if you feel, and I'm gonna say this the right way, men, women, children, that's a whole different, because you the child in the house. But men or women in the household, if you feel disrespected in your household with your partner or your spouse or whatever you want to phrase it, y'all need to have a conversation. Because
even after the
to
conversation,
your point, even if it's not about the money, right? We talked about the ambition piece of it. So he may have a certain type of career to where his earnings cap is different than hers.
Yes, that's what it is.
That doesn't mean that he's not producing enough. What that means is they have a communication gap in what their relationship dynamic needs to be. Yeah, and by him going to play video games, I'm not saying that if you play video games, you are less than a man, but by him playing video games and not talking to his wife about what his issue is, in my opinion, he is dropping the ball, and I don't blame her at all because he hasn't expressed to her that he feels less than in his household.
I got a question.
And I agree with that.
Let me ask a question.
I'm gonna get you, John. But like you say, when I know you brought up when I talk about guys that don't work. Now, if you're retired and you done did your job. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference. But you got to be able to still present yourself in a certain way in your household. You can't be sitting on, I'm chilling, you know. Of course, she like, dang, you ain't gonna get up and do nothing. You ain't clean up the house. It's certain things you gotta do as a man to present yourself, even if she's making more money than you or whatever it is, to make her respect you. Like, okay, he's in charge.
I got a question.
Fire it off.
All right. So listen,
because my opinion ain't gonna change.
So we gonna have ladies listening. We gonna have some ladies on this podcast, and Rickland, you're welcome to join us when we do. I'm going to ask a question to y'all, and then when the ladies on here, we're going to ask them the same question. Can a woman respect a man that she is either financing his life or going 50-50 with financially?
Yes. Yeah, she can.
Yes.
Because where have you came across any women?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why aren't you with him then?
Because, you talking about? Well, I'm sure.
Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, what's the goal? What was the goal? When we were going 50-50, it was because we had a savings goal to hit and also things we wanted to do. Correct. Now since then, she don't pay nothing. She don't pay no
because but what did you have though? You had a vision.
We had a vision. We had an understanding. But the thing is, people don't have that.
But what does that go back to?
Communication.
There you go.
Goes back to what I said originally. You gotta be able to sit this person down and say, look, if this is what we gonna do, this is. I kept saying expectations. This is what I expect. Tell me what you expect, and then you compromise in the middle. Again, communicate it, then make it work. The issue is we don't do that middle piece and just think a motherfucker's supposed to figure it out. You supposed to just know, okay, you at household, you supposed to do this, or you going, you supposed to do this.
But So in your situation, you guys had a goal and you were clear and concise in regards to what
and then once we got out of that area,
once you got to a certain space,
but see, like we saying, as John said, why we not with him? Sometimes it's not all about the financial part.
No, I'm saying
it goes into something a lot deeper than other stuff.
So is this woman attractive?
Very.
All right, and is this woman? She said,
but I'm not gonna sacrifice certain things in myself.
No,
try to be with her.
Is she wife material
to somebody else?
But see, here's the thing.
Yeah,
here's where your question.
To somebody else.
Here's where the question get murky.
It's just our personality. Certain things just did not mesh.
Your question,
So,
your question tailored around finance. His response tailored around overall mental, emotional compatibility.
Okay.
So yes, you can respect the man as long. We're
gonna ask the women
and
that.
Here's the thing too. A lot, and this is what I've known from listening and talking to other women. A lot of women actually like doing 50-50 because they don't lose control.
And here's the other part. Let me ask this question real quick. Since you mentioned the financial part, when is that conversation had?
It's had. I would say it's had. You can have it early or in the middle as you want to. Before, especially if we're gonna come together and live together. It needs to happen way before that.
Before y'all get in the house.
At any point in the beginning, so that you know what's like. I said, I'm a payer. When we go out to dinner, you don't have to worry about it. My card is already on the table before they bring the check. You don't have to worry about it. She literally has had to pay the bill before when I go to the bathroom so she can pay. And it's not saying that I don't ever want her to. It's just that when I want you to understand that this is time for you to relax. Like this is time you know she's a cooker. You know she's a house. She's a house person.
Yeah, she keeps the house.
You know, she's cool. So when we go out, I don't want you thinking about the money you make and that you got going on. Let me just treat you because you. And when I got work when I come, I can literally just walk in there. Not saying I don't. Not saying I don't.
Get that clear.
We're clear. But for the most part, because she knows when I leave out and I go out and I leave in the morning, I might not be back at 7 o'clock at night. But at the same time, that was something we talked about, and that's something that we're cool on.
It's an understanding.
Now, here's the thing: when she do treat me out, baby girl, do a thing. I'm appreciative.
Yeah, I don't. You know what I'm saying?
I'm appreciative.
You're like a little kid, right? And I guess all I'm saying is. There are you get to a certain point with somebody in a relationship, you're building a relationship. Mm-hmm. If you don't have that conversation about money and finance and who's paying more, and you call yourself, both of y'all done told each other you love each other or whatever.
Oh, you gotta wait for that part.
I agree. But here's my point. If you don't, and you get all the way there, and then you have the money conversation, so you gonna split up because you just found out that you make more money than him?
That's what you married.
And then that's when you gotta question what y'all really built to begin with.
So so you asked how soon? I was the type of person back when I was out in these streets. I'd be like, look, this is what I do. Look, we gonna go out, you ain't gonna worry about paying. Boom.
Right, but does that tell her you make more money than her?
It doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to. But you know the way they do it now? They ask what you do. So they kind of get a ballpark.
Let me also be clear. A
lot of women do ask that now. I'm single, so I say that I'm single.
I used to get asked that like 3 or 4 days in. Yeah. And they be like, yo,
and also let me be clear. Right, it's not even necessarily about her making more than you, right? Because if she make 110 and you make 95, well, that's
ain't nothing
that's,
to discuss.
Some people in the household, but and then there are women who like will kind of like tweak about that, which is their preference, right? You're free to do that, but right, most people walking around in America are not making that much money, right? Mm-hmm. That's the facts, and that's the average median income is about $38,000. That's the reality.
I just feel like they definitely can. It's our ego as men. We have this weird thing that money puts.
A lot of us do. I think that's a good thing, though.
Is it?
Because right.
I'll study right now. I'm sorry, because it's
really
a good thing to have ego around something so trivial that can easily be adjusted by adjusting your hustle.
I think it's more. I don't think it's.
Then it still comes back to you.
I think. Well, the way I look at it in regards to like that, like it's okay to have an ego as men, as long as it's under control. As long as it's
we don't have control. I'm gonna say this. We don't have. Because we don't. Again, it comes. The original question. I don't know how long ago. What's the standard? So then, what's the standard control for our ego? You say it's okay to have an ego in that regards, but some people take that too far.
Yeah, that's facts. No, that is true.
Like, where do we say like, okay, this is where the platform is, and honestly, like most things, we will probably never be able to because everybody's different. My level of content financially may not match any of y'all in this room, but I know it works for my household as well.
Yeah.
And that's a discussion we had when we literally sat down and was like, hey, well, what are our goals? What do we want to do? I asked her, before she got a chance to really look into what I did, hey, what do you want to do what do you want to do outside
your goals
of
long term? Yeah, and that's something that you should be discussing.
And in that moment, you have an instance to say it aligns or it don't align. And you gotta have that. I feel like you gotta have that conversation a little earlier. Than just some run in the mill like you said. Oh, I love you, baby.
And then you find out you make 80 and she make 150, and you're like, oh, hell, shit, I can't be with her.
But the thing is, like,
well, people have done that.
But and yes, they are folk who do that. I'm just talking, and now I'm making this, I guess, personal for me, is that like the ego, right? Getting back to that, is that it's okay for us as men to have an ego, right? Because that's something that kind of drives us to be competitive in the world that is going to judge in the world. Fact of fiction is the world going to judge us as men based on partly, maybe not all, but a good portion of based on our production level
world,
and our
but not our women.
When you walk in,
think the women don't?
But when you walk in,
we gotta get some women on here.
I'm not saying they don't, but when you walk in your front door, you don't bring the same energy and ego that you bring outside.
No.
I will compete with the world all the way. I will go.
I'm not competing with my woman. No.
No, I'm not. And any woman that feels like she should compete with her man on that type of stuff in your household, that's already the recipe for disaster.
I think we all could agree that's a given, right? Yeah. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not trying to compete with my wife to make more money than her or outdo her. I think just the competitiveness in regards to us as men, we should want our sons to see that. We should want our daughters to be around a man who's willing to do whatever it takes to provide for their family.
That's a different thing. So
that's what I'm. That's what I'm getting.
But that comes into play. But you can provide making $60,000 and she makes 150.
But also too, what I think
I'm not disagreeing on that. It just I'm not disagreeing that. I think
you should be able to elevate your partner, but you should keep going.
But us as men, like, if we're making $60K, right? Let's say we're making 60. And this is me, I think that you should always, because, right, women physically, right, their bodies, right, especially if they go through pregnancy and things like that, if you want to, I'll put it like this, you want to kill a woman, tell her she got to work for the rest of her life, right, and provide for herself and by herself with no help of a man, and no help of anybody else, and have to do it on her own.
I don't know if that'll kill her. That might make her a little resentful.
Yeah, and it'll break her. It'll break her spirit, bro.
Yeah, I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing for us as men, and what I want, the reason why I say this, because I don't want any young black men who may be watching this to ever get comfortable with the idea that you're not supposed to be the protector and the provider of your house, of your community. That you should have a high standard of expectations for yourself, and that you should, and we are not allowed to get content and get comfortable. We should always try to push. Because like the idea of retirement, even the idea of retirement for me, you may want to retire from your job or your corporate gig, but the idea of being productive and pushing yourself in whatever it is that you're doing should be a constant thing on your mind. So that's more so what I'm talking about, is that energy that you have, or that you should have, when dealing with your house, when dealing with the outside world, your job, your business, or whatever. That's what I'm saying.
So, I mean, again, it comes back to what works in your household in that conversation, because the means of comfortability when it comes to wealth or a household is always going to be different. Yep. Some people are comfortable living $60,000 collectively, or get $100,000, whatever math may be, because it is what it is.
It is what it is.
If that works for them, then that's cool, because at that point, I'm pretty sure the conversation happened where she's comfortable with what he does, what he brings in, and how he provides and protects for her is in that manner. It's not in always elevation. Now, there are couples that I know. I have a couple friends of mine. They have that type of spirit when it comes down to that in their careers. Mm-hmm. When they get home, it's level playing field. None of that matters. Mm-hmm. So because they both do the same thing. So it's like, and I think this is where I feel like where you were trying to say earlier is like, hey, he makes 60, she makes 100. they both elevate to 100. He should then get to 150 and then bring her to 150 as well. Like, I think that's a realistic thing that should happen. Not necessarily, hey, this person makes less. Let's flip the whole script around just because they have a problem.
Oh, no. That's not what I was saying. I said, like, she doesn't have to make less to make him feel better.
Yeah.
He needs to.
No, that's what I said. Yeah. That's a
That's
conversation they just need to have and get on the same page.
Yeah.
So, that's good, man. No, this is good. So, this was dope, man. So, ladies.
I said, I'm going to keep the same thing I said.
I'm going to keep the same energy.
Beforehand, I will always say, make sure you get you. But at the same time, be prepared, like you said, to have that conversation at some point before you get into that honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
And really talk about what you expect. If you expect certain things from me and I cannot fulfill them, and this is me talking to men now, as a man, you should be able to walk away from that and tell her that you are not the man for her because you can't provide that.
Right.
Because and again, these are things that I'm speaking general and I'm talking extreme things, right? If it's something small you can compromise on and you feel she is worth it, by all means, weigh the options, compromise it, but at the end of the day, discuss that with your partner.
I'll give you a prime example, and I'll use myself as the example, because we talked about it a little bit earlier, right? Mm-hmm. Women that, whatever the case may be. I was in a relationship, in a situation to where at the time in my life, I was very much a workaholic. I couldn't give her time. Mm-hmm. Let me rephrase. I wouldn't give her time because I would bury myself in work. Eventually, we had to have that conversation. I had to look her dead in the face and say, then I have to let you go. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not going to turn that switch off because the career I'm trying to build for me in this moment is more important than the time you want.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the truth. That probably stung the hell out of her
but she respects you for it.
But eventually, we still talk to this. I shouldn't say talk. We can get along to this day. If I see her, if we are in the same circle, in the same space, we are fine. Mm-hmm. Because I told her the truth. We had a conversation about it. And I think that's where, that to me is what it comes down to, is that communication piece, whether it's about what the finances look like. And I know that's not always what it is. What the finances are going to look like, what the roles are going to look like, what the dynamics going to look like, right? Because here's the other thing. Some people say, I want my wife to cook dinner for me every night. That's fine. But if she has a job that she works second shift, that may not work.
That's not realistic.
Yeah. That's not realistic. So when you meet her and you know that she works second shift and you're looking for a woman to cook your dinner every night, that's probably not the woman for you if that dinner is that high on the food chain.
I don't even eat that. So I don't even know.
And so that conversation,
he's stupid.
That's why I keep going back to communication, because I think getting back to the root of, right, because this is we're in sequels at this point. Mm-hmm. Getting back to the root of whether or not a black man is the enemy of the black woman. Both of their enemy is the inability to communicate between each other.
Yeah.
That's the damn enemy. And we're going to end on that.
Yeah. So that's dope, man. So this is good. So we may have to address this again. So ladies, we're going to be reaching out. Ladies.
Back, man. Hey.
Ladies.
Hey, look.
We here.
For having me.
This was good, man.
Yeah, this is dope.
So,
this is dope.
Yeah, we got to get
you
you
on Instagram.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me your stuff, man.
Rickland Young. RICKLANDYOUNG. Real simple. If you actually just get on Instagram and type in RICKL, I come up right at the top every single time. Everything's the same. Twitter, TikTok. I hate doing TikTok. Jesus Christ. Oh, man. But anyway, my website, everything the same. My firstlastname.com. I look forward to speaking with y'all. Like I said, thank y'all again for having me.
Nah, we got to get you on again, brother. So make sure
let me know.
Y'all go on IG, go follow us. Make sure you guys comment on this video because I'm pretty sure you're going to want to. So this was a pleasure. Y'all be good. God bless.